I was wondering if you could talk a little bit, because you said you spent about 10 years in the San Joaquin Valley,
Yes,
and even more because you continue to go. So
correct.
perhaps you can talk a little bit about your personal experience with what that was like. I mean, in interviewing these Yemeni farm workers, and what it is that you were observing, what are the issues that they were dealing with, and just kind of, your impressions of it.
Well, the issues were I was just amazed at how it all happened. Somebody in Ib goes to Sana because he knows he can work in California. He is he's a villager, right? Not a peasant like other people call these people, right? They were villagers. They lived in Ib. They were working the fields. They had terraces. They had, they were the poorest in the Middle East, of course, but they subsistence agriculture somehow. There was a livelihood, but there was dreams overseas. So they would go to Cairo. They would fly from Sana'a to Cairo, and then they hop on a plane, and they probably would go to Germany, and maybe Amsterdam, right? And then they would get a flight, all paid probably by the growers or whomever, and then they landed in LAX, and then somebody picks them up, and then they drive them to Delano and into a work camp, and in a matter of 24 hours or so, the fellow who used to work the land and the owner of the land became subservient to the land tenure of the San Joaquin Valley, which was and then isolated in the fields, not knowing the language, having to deal with all kinds of things that were never seen in their eyes before. A lot of these guys, had worked in the asparagus fields, and had to walk for miles and miles, on earth that is torn, and just bent down. So all these health issues that creeped in, and benefits that needed to be addressed, and contracted a little cancer, skin cancer, because it was really hot and under the sun. If you didn't cover yourself, you could really expose yourself to melanoma, right? And so there are all these issues, health issues as well, right? Lower back, ankles, pesticides, all these kinds of things that were in the air, so to speak. The sojourn migration slowly dwindled, and people settled. There were never more than 5,000 to 10,000 Yemenis in the entire San Joaquin, and they spread along Highway 99. So they work in Fresno. Sometimes during the winter, they follow the crops. They pick strawberries in the Imperial Valley down south, or they went to work in canneries in Fresno and other places north. So it was like nomads following the seasons and following the crops. The crops were not only grapes, and maybe 10, 15 varieties of grapes, and that Muhammad Abdullah describes in the little documentary that we made in 2010 after I retired from UCLA. We describes all the grapes that they were growing, but they also picked stone fruits. They picked plums, they picked apricots, they picked peaches, not cotton, but it was mostly grapes and stone fruits that were grown.